Good morning, Boerne. Welcome to the Boerne Brew. My name is Jeff Flynn. I'm the managing editor at the Boerne Star newspaper. We come down here in Richter Tavern building, and we occupy the studio of Boerne Radio, 103.9 FM, to bring you the Boerne Brew every Saturday. Today, we got a little different one. Opening last night and running through July 20th is the Mountain King at the Boerne Community Theater. And I've got some characters here. I've got gentleman Arcadius Clay is here. I've got gentleman Joshua Weaver. He's here. I've got the Mountain King himself, Buck Brewster, here. Hey, you guys want to say hello? Give me a hello, Buck. Give me a hello, Arcadius, and say hi, Joshua.
Hello.
That's the Mountain King himself, Buck Brewster. Arcadius.
Stop shouting.
Stop shouting. I'm sure there was a lot of shouting on stage last night. So.
Yep.
And Joshua.
Howdy.
Howdy, there we go. You three guys, we've got a script going on. Like I said, the play goes through July 20th. In a little minute, we're going to talk to Lemuel Mitchell. He's an actor, playwright, and he wrote this thing. So he put pen to paper. Mountain King, it's a play set 1876, folks. 1876 in the Wild Dakota Territory. Tells the story of three men. Arcadius Clay over here. He's a drunken, colorful character. Not today. But he serves as a trail guide to our greenhorn Joshua as they search for Buck Brewster, the Mountain King. Arcadius, tell me about 1870. So what do we know about the Dakota Territory? What are you doing with Josh?
Well, I got to haul me a tin horn across these challenging lands, and it's like toothing a tiger or riding a bear. Every minute I got to keep him from getting himself killed or falling off his darn horse, and not the brightest fella, and my gosh, he just likes to talk and talk and talk.
And Joshua, what are you looking for the Mountain King for? Is it Buck you're looking for, or is it the Mountain King?
Well, it's a simple and I would say righteous mission that we are on to try and purchase this land from some of the warlike tribes of the northern plains.
Mm-hmm. And I've got the Mountain King himself, Buck Brewster, here. Talk to me, Buck. Are you hiding from these guys? Are you making yourself available to be found? Tell me about your relationship with these dudes coming after you.
Hiding? I would never miss a rendezvous. No, I've gone ahead to be among the people of the valley, and they're coming to meet me. I worked with Arcadius.
Back in the days of the beaver trade, yes, sir.
Are they bringing you money? Are they bringing you fame? Are they bringing you glory?
I don't got no need for fame or glory or money. Joshua contacted me in Kansas City. He laid out the particulars, and I knew what I had to do.
Joshua, how did you find Arcadius? Did you put an ad up on the saloon wall? How did Arcadius find you? How did you find Arcadius?
Well, after discussing our mission with Buck Brewster, he recommended me his old colleague, Arcadius Clay. So I had to go and seek him out on the wisdom of the Mountain King and see to it that he guided me through our mission.
Arcadius, how long does this trek take? Does it take longer when you got a greenhorn with you?
No, normally knowledgeable fellow like myself doesn't have to worry too much, but having to haul this greenhorn around and keep him from getting snake bit and half drowned in a creek, well, that'll add a lifetime to any trip you're going to take. But, I'm a man of knowledge and a man of wisdom, and I ain't never been lost, never had to worry about where I'm going, so I can do all right, and I hopefully won't have to work too much harder before we get to our trek, but we done rid quite a few miles, and we're coming up to the end of our journey here and to our reward, as it were.
Buck, Mountain King, where do they find you? Where do you guys rendezvous?
In the Black Hills.
In a cabin, out in the middle of nowhere, or in a saloon?
You're asking a lot of questions with a fella that ain't supposed to have no interest in our adventures. Now, I don't know what you're up to, Jeff, but why don't you come on down and see how we run our little rendezvous, and you'll find out exactly where we're going and what we're doing. Now, I don't think that's asking too much, is it?
No, sir. I stand corrected. You want to run through something for us? Give us a taste of what people are going to see when they come to the event tonight, Saturday, or next weekend. Folks, this is Boerne Brew, Jeff Flynn at the Boerne Star. You're going to hear right now a little partake of the Mountain King, the newest play going on out at Boerne Community Theater out on Blanco Road. Have at it, guys.
Boy, what the heck you know about the perils of the frontier?
Well, admittedly, nothing to rival your experiences, but I will say my readings on the subject have been quite extensive.
Readings? Reading what?
reports, periodicals detailing the life, Indian attacks, shootouts, the Battle of Little Bighorn.
And you still ain't learned the darn thing.
You mock, but in all seriousness, I feel considerably more capable to navigate the barren expanses now that I...
Navigate? Boy, if I was to keel over right this minute, you'd be as lost as Little Bo Peep, wandering around in circles till you die.
I have my compass. I have the charts.
Just saddle your darn horse. I'm fed up of us getting on the trail late every morning on account of you lollygagging.
Very well. I shall delay no further, then.
I reckon you better not. Try not to get lost between here and your horse. Darn blue-belly, gospel-sniping, little snot-nosed...
Arcadius Clay! Why must you be such a contrary old sidewinder?
What do you want?
Well, tell me the purpose of running that boy down when he is not even within earshot to receive the benefit of your censure.
I wouldn't give a piss for his benefit.
And yet here you are, leading him clear across creation.
I was getting paid, ain't I?
Oh, you have been paid to do many things, some of which you actually done.
I do what I fancy.
I remember the sorts of things you fancy. Playing nursemaid was not one of them.
Oh, you remember, do you?
Or maybe you cite your name for this one.
I wouldn't give a piss for a name neither, but just maybe this job would fit my fancy if I knew who the heck I was working for. Or maybe you can tell me who's bankrolling this hayride.
Nope.
I thought not.
I can tell that you are getting that look about you.
You're just all questions and no answers.
The look of a guilty man.
Why don't you shut up?
Something you done or something you are fixing to do.
Didn't I say to shut up?
I never could get in the habit of doing that.
You just better be at that rendezvous, Buck.
Katie, when have you ever known me to miss a rendezvous?
You're gonna be at that rendezvous tomorrow, I know it.
The Lord willing, though we have many miles yet before us.
You ready to skedaddle yet, Little Bo Peep?
I have saddled my horse and donned my spurs. Are they not glorious? I purchased them at the Montgomery Trading Post.
Boy, take them things off. We ain't the Pony Express.
Hey, that is good stuff, man. The play is The Mountain King. The voices you heard, the gruff laughter to my left came from Martin Vidal. He is the Mountain King, Buck Brewster. Arcadius Clay, he's the man who's leading our youngster. Arcadius Clay is played by Steve Harris. And over here, our youngster who has just got his saddle from the Montgomery store. Is that what it was? There he is. Yes. Joshua is played by Davis Hayes. Welcome in, guys. This is Boerne Brew on Saturday morning on Boerne Radio 103.9. And we're talking to the actors in the play The Mountain King, which opened last night at Boerne Community Theater. I'll open with Steve. I met Steve once in a cemetery.
We did, yeah.
The cemetery walk. He was
Sure.
one of the characters in the cemetery walk. Hey, tell me about being in The Mountain King. Tell me about your character, and you got it down. I mean, you can tell you got it down. You know Arcadius.
Yeah,
Is that your middle name, Stephen Arcadius?
No, but I'm thinking of changing it legally. I was familiar with Mr. Mitchell or Lemuel's play previously, and I thought it was just a great bit of work. When I first heard the concept, you've got these dudes trekking across the Badlands of the Dakotas, but it's a serious, dramatic, layered stage play about the Dakotas. And I'm like, okay. And then when I found out who was directing it, Boerne Community Theater has like an unreasonable volume of very talented directors, and Jeffrey Hensel's no exception. And I'd recently seen him do a play in a very small, kind of intimate venue, almost theater in the round, and he'd made it rain inside the theater. Huh. And I was like, he's unhinged. This play is dense. Put them together, you know. And so I definitely wanted to be a part of it, and it worked out for my schedule. So auditioned, and I guess it was great.
Locked down. We've got Martin Vidal. I've been here 2 years now in Boerne. I've seen that name many, many times come out of Boerne Community Theater Productions.
Hi,
there we go.
Martin Vidal. Apparently my name comes out of Boerne Community Theater Productions.
There you go.
Now, I've been working at Boerne for years. I've worked with Steve for years. I worked with Jeffrey for years. I actually worked with the playwright, Lemuel Mitchell, Mitch, for years. when he was first writing this play. I had the privilege of reading it, the notes, the abstract, and even then I was terribly jealous. It's really a fantastic play. It is an excellent script, and I'm glad that we have a good cast and director, although, as I've said to them before, all we have to do is say all the words, and people are going to walk out of that theater knowing they just saw a great play.
Yep. It sounds like Buck Brewster was written for you. Or did you have an inkling to become Arcadius Clay? I mean, I can see that transition, but it sounds like you are Buck Brewster.
I have done both. I got to be Buck in the first reading of the play. Back during COVID, they did a web series from the Playhouse 2000 in Kerrville. I got to be Katie at the Overtime Theater in San Antonio when they premiered the play, and now I get to be Buck again. Someday they'll make something that makes me younger, and I'll be able to play Joshua, and I'll have the hat.
Yeah, I was going to say, you do not fit the role of Joshua Weaver, but Davis Hayes does. Talk to us, Davis, about being in this.
Yeah, this is my first production at Boerne Community Theater, and I have to say it's a good one to be involved in. So far, I've been really enjoying the process and working with these two guys. They've been phenomenal to work with, and just to walk in their footsteps is really a privilege.
If there's a way to start into the BCT or into the stage, it's with Steve and Martin. A little intimidating?
At times it can be. Yeah, I mean, I think I can suffer from imposter syndrome at times, but, I think as we all do. But I try to push those voices out of my head, and I'm just lucky to have such a supportive cast of people surrounding me.
Now, Josh, when you're reading that, it reminds me of, there's a Clint Eastwood movie, one of the Westerns. Of course, it's all Western. Anyway, there's a newspaper reporter following him, writing the story of Clint Eastwood's character. And he kind of talks. It's kind of a mix between him and Sheldon Cooper off of Big Bang Theory. It's kind of that naive straight-upness, of, I bought my saddle at the Montgomery store, And when they're like, I had my saddle last time I took it off a dead horse back in the Dakotas. And you come along with the straight-up, pragmatic, you're the straight guy.
The problem is he's also very talented. And when he lets loose with that little sideline, he's also got a great singing voice. So, yeah, I didn't like him from the get-go. So we spend a lot of time on stage together, and he does really great. Acting is reacting in many ways, and listening and reacting to that. And it's fantastic to have him there to give energy off of each other. So it's been a pleasure for me.
It's very difficult because I'm off stage a lot of the time watching the two of them, and you just get so engrossed in what they're doing. It's like, I'm supposed to be part of this now.
I've been in one play in my life, Streetcar Named Desire, in about 1986, 87. I had a bit part. I had 2 lines, and I forgot one of them. So I made up the line to get off stage. I couldn't remember what I said. And I was supposed to say, well, I'll partake and go home. I said, I'll partake and I'm going to go watch TV. I forgot my 3 words, and I walked off stage, and cripes, I blew the whole play. I was some minor waiter or something, so I envy people that can remember line after line after line without saying, line.
Me too.
Folks, you're listening to The Boerne Brew. I'm Jeff Flynn. I'm the managing editor at the Boerne Star newspaper. We have people from the Boerne Community Theater in today. We have the cast of The Mountain King. We've got 3 guys here who are portraying the 2 grizzled old guys who grew up there and know it like the back of their hand, and the one young, what'd you call him? Greenhorn. No,
Greenhorn.
Yeah, young Greenhorn finding his way. One is his leader and one is his destination. So you got to think when Joshua takes off with Arcadius, he's somewhere down the road, he's got to be thinking, man, what am I doing? Where's this guy taking me? Where are we going?
I think that crosses both characters' minds at times. But again, you'll have to come see.
Yeah, we'll have to come see, folks. Martin, any last words for our folks here before we skedaddle you guys out of the studio?
Well, now you got to remember, Arcadius Clay would climb to the top of a mountain to shout down a lie when he could stand in the valley to tell the truth. So you're just going to have to come see what happens to know what really happens.
Arcadius, do you have any reaction to that?
Now, I don't tell no lies. I was there to see every single thing that I done talked about, and I don't appreciate having my character besmirched.
And Joshua, listen to these two guys argue. You don't want to get in the middle of that, or you going to stay distance?
I know one thing. This land must be peopled.
Great, guys. Thank you very much. Hey, folks, we're going to have the Playwright in here just a second. If you're not busy tonight, or is it you guys on Sunday? Or is
we have tonight's the show. Sunday is a matinee, and then next Thursday, Friday, Saturday are evening shows, and Sunday is another matinee.
Okay, great. Yeah, get online, get tickets. You can call the box office. Again, folks, whenever you have Boerne Brew, you're supposed to have paper and a pen or a laptop or your iPhone to write on the notepad thing. Box office is 830-249-9166. Got that? 830, we all know that. 249-9166. That's the box office. Or you can go online at boernetheater.org/tickets. Got Lemuel Mitchell here. He's the playwright for the play, The Mountain King. Welcome in. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. Yeah, happy to be here.
Tell me about The Mountain King. 1876 Dakotas.
Mm-hmm.
You got a grizzled trail master leading a greenhorn, and they're meeting up with the Mountain King.
Yeah, correct. Yes, Buck Brewster, the Mountain King. Yeah, so the Mountain King, it is through and through a Western.
Mm-hmm.
Secondarily, I would say it is also historical fiction, if everybody's familiar with that, which means that it is rooted in and around actual historical fact. A lot of the play takes place in a very specific time and geography, and there was a lot of research that went into it, and it's all very rooted in the history of the 1876 and what was going on in America at the time.
What was your inspiration to do this at this time? Was it fascination with the time period, or did Arcadius Clay or the Mountain Buck Brewster, did it come to you in your sleep? You wake up thinking, my God, I've got the basis for a play.
I knew I was going to start on a play script. I was writing on that, and I was thinking in my head about certain genres that you don't see on stage very often, one of which is the Western. And why is that? Why don't you see Westerns on stage? Well, one of the reasons is that we associate with the Western with cinema. You know, and one of the most important characters in the Western is the landscape, the American West, you know, sweeping Vista Vision cinematography of Monument Valley, of the Colorado mountains and all of that. And you can't do that on stage. You can't do that. And, you know, on the trail, the scenery, the pursuit by horseback, stuff like that, that just doesn't. I mean, you can imply on stage, but it doesn't really work very well.
Well, listen, these three interact. I could have closed my eyes and envisioned him with his boots and his spurs, and him getting off a horse, and the greenhorn with his little book flipping through. Making, I could envision that. You know,
right. Well, that's the trick. Yeah. That was my experiment. That was my thought experiment, was how to take the Western, the grand sweeping Western, and bring it down to an intimate level, which is what theater is really great at. Theater is the best of all the art forms, exploring intimate relationship. The audience is in the room with the characters. Right. And so you bring them in the room with these men, and they're just on the trail for a very long period of time together. That was my solution, was let's take this grand adventure which they're on and bring it down to just the campfire.
Right.
You know, and that's where the whole play takes place, is around the campfire. There's a much larger world that they're inhabiting, but their personal relationship is happening right there. And you're in the room with that.
In the movie Ants.
Yeah, okay.
Movie Ants. There's this ant hill in the middle of a pond, and they get off it, and it's the first time anybody in their chain of ants has ever been off that property. So that's their realm. That's their existence. You know, these guys, who knows if Buck Brewster or Arcadius has ever seen a train or ever been in a city where there's...
Well, that's funny. The character of Joshua in this script has a monologue about hot air balloons. And Arcadius Clay has no idea what he's talking about. It's what you would call retrofuturism. It's science fiction to them.
Right.
The hot air balloon. Or at least Arcadia it is, because he knows nothing about this. It sounds ridiculous.
I'm catching up to my wife and my daughter watching Outlander when she goes back 200 years and traces her family history. And she keeps saying, oh, you sound like a broken record. Or, she tells them about the flying machines. This is 1746. They're like, how does that work?
Yeah, flying machines.
Yeah, flying machines. What is that? So that's a good omen for them here. In writing it, was it easy to develop? I mean, once you got your three guys down, the way these guys are set up, it sounds like it took off. I mean, Joshua, man, you have so much greenhornism to write about him.
Right.
And Arcadius, Steve does a great voice. I've seen Steve several times, and I've seen Martin a couple times too. Martin does a very good role-playing character on stage. He does that so well.
Yeah, character acting, absolutely.
Right. Good.
Well, I do a lot of acting myself. That's how I come to writing primarily, as I've done a lot of acting over the years and a lot of Shakespearean acting. That's my favorite style. And I do a lot of character acting. That is my approach to acting. And so in writing characters, I prefer and I tend to gravitate towards characters that have very strong voices, and so that just helps me when you have a character with a strong voice like Katie and like Joshua. They have very specific places that they're coming from and very specific dialects that they speak in. It greases the axles of the writing process, because you understand when Joshua says this, well, it's a lot easier to know how Katie would respond.
Folks, my name, Jeff Flynn. I'm the managing editor of the Boerne Star. The voice you're hearing that's not mine is Lemuel Mitchell. He's an actor, playwright, and the play that started last night at the Boerne Community Theater down on East Blanco is The Mountain King.
Yes.
He wrote this. He wrote The Mountain King.
Correct.
Set it back in the 1870s out in the Dakotas. Back in the 1870s, the Dakotas were probably a lot like Comfort. San Antonio was probably a, quote, bustling city in the 1870s.
Yeah, it would have been,
Yeah, it would have been.
I believe the Dakota Territory was the last section of the United States to truly be settled. It was controlled by the Lakota Sioux tribe, and the United States had not actually conquered it. The Lakota Sioux had defeated the United States military previously and had won ownership over the Black Hills of Dakota. And it wasn't until a few years after the events of my play that the military drove the Lakota out, and that was the last gold rush in American history, was the Black Hills, which, as it turned out, there was no gold. Typical.
Yeah, typical. Is Western your forte? Is this your first go-round at Westerns?
Yes, it was my first go-round of Westerns. I do like plays set in historical time periods, but I have written 3 other play scripts, none of which are Westerns. I do like genre writing, and the Western is a very strongly structured genre of storytelling, but I've also written horror and science fiction and screwball comedy. But they're all set in not the present.
The screwball comedy, what's that, the 20s?
World War II.
World War II. Okay.
Yeah, so that was on stage in Kerrville earlier this year.
Okay.
Yes,
what was the name of that?
The name of that play was Bombshells, and it was set in London during the Blitz during World War II.
What an interesting time to have a comedy.
Oh, yeah.
Bombs are dropping, but we're making fun of it.
Yes, well, it was quite funny. It did very well for us, yes.
What was your first play that you saw take the stage? How anxious, how nervous, how nerve-wracking is that when the first curtain opens, you think, okay, this is it?
The Mountain King was the first, is this accurate? Yeah, I think it is the first, for sure, full-length thing I wrote that was put on stage. And it was originally performed as a webcast staged reading by Playhouse 2000 out of Kerrville. And then eventually was also done in San Antonio at the Overtime Theater. And yes, it is very, very stressful to listen to other people say the words that you wrote all the way through the process. And auditions is just an extremely surreal experience. If you haven't heard anyone read what you wrote yet, then you're going to be surprised.
When you listen to the 3 characters, listening to Martin Vidal, Davis Hayes, and Steve Harris portray, it reminded me of the pictures you see in the 1920s and the 1930s where there's a family gathered around the big old radio with the speaker. And there's a play going on. You're listening to it. You can hear the parts. And each person closes their eyes and probably envisions the same scene, but in a different way.
Right, like, the old radio dramas.
Right.
Yeah, that would be, Westerns were very popular. That's where, the Lone Ranger first took off as a radio drama. Yeah, serialized radio drama.
You see the Mountain King the first time. What's the stage in San Antonio it was on?
The Overtime.
The Overtime.
Yeah.
It's done. The Overtime's over. You go home. Did you take a pencil out and say, that didn't work? I want to.
Yes.
Was there any rewriting?
Yeah, there was one bit in particular which I liked, in a vacuum. It was good. It was fine. But in the whole of the play, it just slowed things down and it didn't work. And so I cut it. And in fact, when we were doing Bombshells earlier this year, I was able to be present through the entire rehearsal process. And so I was cutting lines the whole time, the entire time. Yes.
Well, we're about to go, but Lemuel, give me in 15 words your favorite part in The Mountain King.
I would say it is the climax of the play. It builds to a fever pitch of the conflict once the conflict becomes clear and you know where the characters are coming from and how different their worldviews are and how that is setting them at odds with each other, and you see it all come to a head at the end of the play. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, folks, you're going to have to get out there, okay? It started last night. It's on stage tonight and tomorrow. And then it comes back next weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday evenings, and Sunday. Get your tickets, folks, 830-249-9166. You can drive by the theater and get tickets, or go online, Boerne Theater, R-E, theaters, theatre.org/tickets. Lemuel, thank you very much. Look forward to seeing it, and have a great week.
Thank you.
Folks, enjoy your weekend. Jeff Flynn from the Boerne Star here on Boerne Radio 103.9 FM. Goodbye.